Like I'm going to build something that's about Carolina golf. Palmetto Pine officially launched on October 31st of 2024. So the next thing was like, well, I have to sell off all the apparel. Like I have to follow the cease and desist. What I didn't know is typically people get like months to kind of sell it off. I just responded, I was like, give me 2 weeks, I'll be gone. I sold 95% of the inventory I had in one day.
What's in store for the next year for Palmetto Pine?
Pine Talk is where Carolina golf's past, present, and future come together. We dive into the stories, courses, and people that make Carolina golf special. Because golf here is more than just a scorecard.
What's up, guys? My name is Chase Morales, and I'm joined by somebody who's typically in this seat, and usually I'm behind the camera, but it's gonna be a great one. Today I'm joined by Ryan Cummings, and he is, as you guys know, the owner of Palmetto Pine, and so we're here today and gonna get to know a little bit about Palmetto Pine, how it started, dive deeper, because coming up's 1 year anniversary, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, cool. So tell us a little bit about how it got started, where we're at, why where we're at is important.
Yes. So today, right now, we're sitting at Tradition Golf Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're sitting on the very first hole. And Tradition plays kind of an important part to the brand. So we'll have to kind of trace this back to kind of my childhood. I was born in Myrtle Beach. My dad was in the Coast Guard. So I grew up in a military family, and I've moved up and down the East Coast. I went to college here in North Carolina. I graduated, and I moved down to Florida, and thinking, growing up just moving around so much, like I had always had this lack of like a sense of like home. Like people ask you where you're from kind of thing, and like I'd give you the explanation of I've lived here, but nothing is like, I've never considered anything my home.
Yeah.
So that was like a feeling that I've always been chasing, especially as I got older and, once I graduated college, it's like, all right, I want to like move somewhere and like settle down. So I graduated college, moved to Tampa, Florida, and it's a great place, have nothing wrong with it, but just like something was missing. And so my wife and I, we ended up moving to Charlotte just because, I had college friends in the area. And, she knew some people. It was a good spot for us, and, closer to, her family. It was going to be a good place for us. And we moved to Charlotte in 2021, and it was at this golf course, at Tradition Golf Club, around October of 2021. And I was out here, I can't even remember if I was playing 9 or 18, but I had to have been playing 18 because I played the back. And I got to the back 9, it's hole 17, it's the par 4, and we just got done playing, so it was kind of like fun to like revisit, and like almost like I was getting like nostalgia, playing this golf course, and playing 17, and I just remember I was out there by myself, like sun setting, it's like 70 degrees, like perfect weather, you can hear the birds and the crickets and everything's chirping, and it was just like that feeling of like, yes, like this is that's that feeling I've been chasing like my entire life to that point. Was that feeling of home. And I was like, yes, like I found it. Like this is where I need to be, and this is where I'm meant to be. So you fast forward from there, and about another, I think 6 months or so, actually no, probably longer than that, to the spring, June-ish, actually summer of 2022.
Yep.
I went and played Tobacco Road on a golf trip for the first time. And Tobacco Road, it's Mike Strantz. It is such a unique golf course. And I played that place, and like it just sparked something of like, I got to see what else is out there. And so from that moment, it had me diving into golf courses and learning about the history and architecture, and just trying to see what else that is out there in the Carolinas. And so then October of 2022, so a few months from that point, I'd made the decision to go sober, which kind of plays a key point into the brand's story that I don't often tell it, but it really is like, it's super important to why this brand even exists to this day. And I made that decision, and one of the first like benefits I had was like I had like a rush of creativity. Like I just kind of like had all these things start rushing towards me, and ideas and different things. And one day this idea I was like, what if I started a golf brand based around Carolinas? Like I had this feeling of home, and like I love the Carolinas. I was born in Myrtle Beach, so it's something that feels full circle. It's like, what if I start a brand around, Carolina golf and trying to show off Carolina golf? And still, one of the other things, like I am not an expert in Carolina golf. I'm working my hardest to become an expert, but it was really just like I've built the brand around that idea of home. And now I have a desire to become an expert in Carolina golf and really show all the things, like the people, the places that make Carolina golf special. And so fast forward from October 22, I had launched the brand, was initially called Kakalaki Golf, which North Kakalaki, South Kakalaki being like a nickname for the Carolinas. and launched it in September of 2023. So that was the first initial launch, and I operated from September of 2023 to July of 2024 as Kakalaki Golf, and I got a cease and desist, which that's another key point to the brand and the brand story. And there's obviously, honestly, thank goodness that happened. It's turned into the biggest blessing. So, and I was in the wrong, and there was, no ill feelings towards Kakalaki, but it ended up being the biggest blessing.
Yeah.
I had been sitting on the name Palmetto Pine to do like a collection of products, like, to do South Carolina, some Palmetto products, North Carolina, do some pine products. And that was something I'd been sitting on. So when I got that cease and desist, like one of the first things that came to me was like, I think Palmetto and Pine could be the name. And it's kind of funny. I went back and forth, do I call it Palmettos and Pines? Probably a solid week or two. I actually had that back and forth in my mind of all right, how do I actually name it? So obviously Palmetto and Pine, that was settled upon, and I think it's a super clean, and I think that it makes it sound how I envision the brand.
Yeah.
And then the next process was coming up with the logo. I had a buddy, Jared, he sent me kind of a clip art of a palmetto tree and a loblolly pine, where it's kind of the tall, almost looks like cotton candy on the top kind of pine tree. And he sent me that version of them back to back. And I was like, I love that back to back logo idea. And so I took it and I kind of wanted the Christmas tree, because that's what I like. I don't know. It's kind of, obviously it's not quite as typical for North Carolina, but when I think of pine tree, that's what my mind goes to.
Yeah.
And I wanted that kind of contrast of the palmettos up here in the pine.
Yep.
So that's really where my mind went with the logo, and was able to get that made. So then Palmetto and Pine officially launched on October 31st of 2024, so now this will be released a year from that point, which, I mean, it feels crazy. Even just talking about the brand in general, how far it's come, and just how much time has passed. It feels like I've barely begun, but I feel like I've done this for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
So October 31st, that is the 1 year anniversary of Palmetto and Pine. And so, I wanted to come out here, tradition, to kind of revisit some of that and I guess celebrate why we're here today. So it definitely feels cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, you get this cease and desist, right? First reactions are what? Oh snap, oh crap. You're like, what do I do? How long until you are you know what, actually this feels like it sits right with you, you know what I mean? Moving into the new name, moving into because from what it sounds like, it's not really just a name, it's the idea, and you didn't lose the idea. It was just what it was under. So talk through that. Also talk through creatively, this has been a creative, outlet for you, process for you, awesome thing. And then kind of get into a little bit of how you like to highlight golf in the Carolinas, and how the apparel plays into that. Was it did it start with wanting to just highlight, and you're love to have some cool stuff to wear out on the course? How'd that play out?
Yeah. So I guess starting with the cease and desist. Funny story. That I got the cease and desist. I went and played Rock Barn Country Club. They have a public course and a private course. Yep. And I played the public course. It's called, or the Jackson course is what it's called out there. And I played the Jackson course. I shot my career best score of an 80.
Okay.
Still a little
hot off the heels of cease and desist.
No, so that was before.
Oh, okay.
I went to Rock Barn, played the Jackson course.
Yeah.
I shot an 80. Yeah. I went cloud 9. Also a little upset I didn't break 80. I didn't shoot a 79. Yeah. But so I play Rock Barn. I shoot an 80, and then I come home and I see a letter on my counter, and it has their logo stamped on it. And I knew immediately what it was going to be.
Yeah.
I was like, it's probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
So I literally shot my career best score and then came home to a cease and desist. Mm-hmm. So it was a roller coaster of a day. Obviously, in that moment, it felt like my world was crashing, because it's I put all this time, effort, energy into building the brand to that point.
Yep.
And even so, at that point in July, I had built it from, I started in September, actually August of 2023 was when I first started posting. I built the Instagram account, which has been the main, platform to this point. So by July of 24, I had built it to 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
So I had just passed 10,000 followers. I was starting to kind of get traction. I had released some head covers at that point that had done the best sales. So I got the cease and desist, and I was just dude, I was so deflated, so upset, especially the first day or two. But my mind was okay, it's about the idea. like what you mentioned. Like it's
Yeah.
the idea. Like no matter what, like I don't care. Strip the name from me. Strip the logo. I don't care. Like I'm going to build something that's about Carolina golf. So like it was like, all right, the next step is like, how do I turn this to a positive? How do I like, all right, this is going to be the next iteration of this brand. It's going to be a stepping stone. And so that was like kind of like the immediate thoughts. I ended up, so I had to sell off, like I had apparel, I had inventory at that point. So the next thing was like, well, I have to sell off all the apparel. Like I have to follow the cease and desist. And what I didn't know is typically people get like months to kind of sell it off. I just responded, I was like, give me 2 weeks, I'll be gone.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Okay.
I put it onto the Instagram account and said, hey guys, like I have some news. You're gonna see some changes. Yeah. But right now, like, you know, I have to get rid of this inventory. Yeah. And I sold it, you know, for massive discount. Wasn't really something intended to make money. It was just like, I need to get the money back.
Yeah.
I sold 95% of the inventory I had in 1 day.
Holy cow.
With no advertising.
That's awesome.
No advertising.
Just huge support right off the bat by people.
Yes. So that was like one of those like first like moments of like, oh wow, like I've got something. Yeah. Like it was just kind of, yes, one of those like the next moments of like, yeah, I have something that can be built upon. Like clearly there's something here that like I need to continue, you know, seeking it out. Yeah. So I sold almost all the inventory immediately. And that was kind of like, all right, like no matter what, like I think I've got something and I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah. People are literally buying into the brand.
Yes. So that was huge. And I guess to talk about the creative side of the brand, initially like starting out, like photography wasn't going to be my aim, or like the videography and some of the stuff, like the brand has just slowly like evolved over time. Yeah. Like it's not like I had some specific vision of I'm going to do this, this, and this. Yeah. It's more of just like, I'm just going to just kind of keep pushing in a direction and see where it goes. Yeah. And luckily, I mean, my mom was a photographer growing up. Shout out to you, Mom. And so she, like when I did the very first photo shoot, which we did here at Tradition, was the very first photo shoot. She flew up from Florida. She came and helped, and she followed us along as we, you know, played golf, and she got some of those kind of like natural pictures I was trying to get. Yeah. So my mom did the first photo shoot, and you know, she's not as much into like photography as she used to be. So when she was going to leave, I was kind of like, Mom, can I like keep the camera? Like, can I just test it out? And like, she taught me the basics and some of that stuff. And I was like, you know, I'll give it to you like at Christmas. You know, I'll give it back to you.
Yeah.
And so she left the camera with me, and that was kind of like, all right, well now I have a camera. Like I can continue to get product pictures. And I was like, well, what if I like take pictures at the golf courses that I'm going like want to go play? Yeah. So that kind of like was the next natural progression of like, all right, now I have a camera. Yep. I can take pictures of golf courses, and I can then, you know, post about them and show them, which like if you went and looked at my like original content, like when I first, you know, probably 3 to even like 6 months of starting the brand, like it's not what it is today, where it's very specific of like highlight a course Monday, Tuesday, like it's slowly evolved into this like, okay, that's clearly what I need to be doing. Is like I need to be like highlighting golf courses and show people like the places that they need to play. Yeah. So that, I mean, but the photography stuff has been such a, you know, another blessing to just come across and get into. It's really been a ton of fun. I'm still learning a bunch. I don't, you know, I have not mastered photography in the slightest, but it's been a really neat aspect to the brand that I really enjoy. It makes it a lot of fun. And then, I guess the content has continued to evolve. I'm always trying to see, all right, what can I do with the content? And, you know, how can I highlight golf courses as best I can? That's kind of the simplest form is like, all right, the end goal is highlighting Carolina golf. Yeah. And it's just like, there's so many avenues you can go around to doing it. And so there's still plenty of things that I want to explore creatively. So just going to keep pushing, I guess.
Love it. That's great. What do you feel like some of your favorite, like, personal and brand like exciting moments over the year of Palmetto Pine or
So I think, I mean, you know, from the brand standpoint of like selling products, which I guess, so to go back, I think your third question was about the products, like how did that tie into? It was kind of like, you know, I'd always wanted to start a business of my own, and it's something I've been seeking and trying to figure out, and like, so it's not like I had some like, oh, I have a background in apparel and like wanted to do it. It was kind of like, all right, I want to start something around Carolina golf, and like, so the natural thing is like, I can do apparel, which, so that's obviously, that's been its own learning experience. There's been so much learning, like this whole thing is like, I know nothing and I'm just winging it and figuring it out as I go, especially the apparel. I think, you know, I've tried to approach it as like, I just wanted to create clean, simple designs. I want the logo to speak for itself. And even I'm wearing the new one that new stuff that by the time people will be seeing this video, it'll be out now. It's called the Carolina Collection, which I want to kind of start to get into some like kind of storytelling products. Like create logos that represent like stories in Carolina golf, in which, this Carolina is a name for, back way before like the U.S. was ever a country. Like Carolina was like the territory that covered kind of North and South Carolina.
Cool. Yep.
And that was like around 1663. So in the like in these products, in like even in the quarter zip, there will be a polo. There's a T-shirt. Inside the labels, it'll say it has the Palmetto Pine logo, and then it says undefeated since 1663.
I love it.
So just as like a little nod to that kind of history of the Carolinas, and like kind of like I just love that it's kind of a connection of both states. Like that's what the brand is. Like it's not one specific state; it's both. So it's kind of celebrating both of those. So that's what I kind of want to get into some of that stuff. Like how can I tell unique, kind of interesting stories in the apparel? Like I want to keep it clean and simple, but like how can I like tell stories and celebrate the Carolinas? So that's been definitely a neat part to it, is the apparel aspect. But I'm making plenty of mistakes. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. But it's definitely been fun and rewarding so far. So to get into highlights, so October 31st we launched Palmetto Pine, and like I had I'd done the most amount of sales I had done in a single day. So to kind of like was that next step of like, oh wow, okay, it's just another step in where this is headed. So that was really cool to have the massive support after the rebrand, the very first day. Like that was really, really neat. And I think, the other like big highlight that comes to mind is we did our Palmetto Golf Loop, which Chase is a part of. That was
great time.
So shout out to the South Carolina Golf Association for letting believing in my idea and letting me come through with that. And shout out to you and Matt and John for being a part of it. And I just think that was like really fun. Like that's some of the things that I like see as the future of the brand. Like I want to involve some of that, like highlight the travel. That's about what what I'm doing with the brand is traveling around and highlighting golf courses. And then how can I turn it into like an interesting series? And it's another part of the creative process of like trying to figure out like, okay, like that was definitely a learning experience in itself. How do we film 3 days of us playing golf? Like how do we do this and that? So the Palmetto Golf Loop, that was a ton of fun. Palmetto Golf Loop, definitely a big highlight. I really enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun with that. So then it kind of, my mind jogs to where where can future series go? Can we continue to do the Palmetto Golf Loop, which I would love to and plan to. Other highlights, what comes to mind?
What if we pivot to like creative highlights? Like, are there any courses like you talked about, like Tobacco Road was like one that like kind of launched you forward. I haven't played it, but I know just creative course in general, it launches this springboard for you. What are some of those like creative highlights over the last year, whether it's like specific course? You talked about the Palmetto Golf Loop, right, as like that being one thing, but are there anything like any moments you had where you're like, it's kind of cool what I'm doing, like didn't think I'd be at this spot?
Nags Head Golf Links is always one of the courses that comes to mind, and I love talking about. It's one of the, like, growing up Coast Guard, like I've always lived around the coast, and I've been fortunate enough to go to the Outer Banks for the last like 10 to 12 years. And now for Palmetto Pine is not my full-time job. I have a full-time job, and I travel to the Outer Banks twice a year for work. And so I get to go there, and we stay in Nags Head. Usually we stay at a house that's like on the golf course.
That's sweet.
Not like intentionally for any purpose of like playing golf, but it's just the area where you can get rentals. And every time we've been there, like I will just go out with a camera or even just walk around and just like, it's just the spot that like, it's another piece of that home feeling of like, I'm at the coast. It's a very homey type of course for me. It's incredibly scenic. And I love golf courses that it's not a course that's about the length that's going to challenge you. It's narrow, it's about accuracy. It's about, when the wind's blowing, can you shape a shot into the wind? Can you ride the wind? It's one of those type of courses. But then on, a calm day, it's one of the most peaceful places on the planet, in my opinion. So I really, really love Nags Head Golf Links. That one always have a soft spot in my heart. Two other ones that I really like that come to mind, Aiken Golf Club is another one. It's an old golf course in South Carolina, one of the oldest public ones in South Carolina. It has history back to when it was built. So it's a really unique one. It's another like kind of interesting. I love a lot of times when I highlight golf courses, like some of my favorite ones are just the ones where length is not what makes it challenging. Like I'm not on the PGA Tour. I don't care about playing 7,000 yards. I can't play 7,000 yards. I'm not going to. So I love the courses that are shorter and are going to challenge you from like an accuracy and like the shaping of the greens and the undulation and like some of that stuff, like where that's what makes golf courses interesting. Because then I also think that's what makes them visually interesting. When you have that stuff. So Aiken Golf Club is another one of those types of spots.
Sweet.
So I really, really like Aiken. I need to get back down there and play it. I played it in February, so it was, brown out. It was, I want to see it all pretty and green. So definitely a place I want to get back to. And it's another great value. I always love talking about value golf courses. So Aiken's one that I have mentioned quite a bit. And then I think a third course that comes as a highlight to me, probably similar reasons to kind of like Nags Head Golf Links, but the course itself is pretty different, is Ocano, which is in Maryhill, which is the inner banks of North Carolina, because the water comes pretty far inland, and so it's another coastal course, which again goes back to the homey feel for me. Like I'll always like anything beachy, coast. Was fortunate to grow up around that, but those are the places that I really, really enjoy. So Ocano, I played that one earlier this year and loved it. It's another one. I've told people, and we talked about it today, that it reminds me of Lonnie Pool, which is in Raleigh, which I really like Lonnie Pool, with kind of like similar, like the style of bunkering and stuff, and it's a very challenging golf course. And Ocano has that similar style, but it's coastal. And then it's got a bunch of centerline bunkers, which you don't see very often on, golf courses in general. So it adds a lot of challenge and kind of technique to playing holes. Like, can I carry this bunker? Should I stay short? The cat and mouse game of that I really, really enjoy. So those are kind of like the highlights that I really come to mind, and ones that I love talking about and love highlighting and love to post about.
Yeah, that's great. What's in store for the next year for Palmetto Pine? Like what are your goals, your hopes, your dreams? What are the stars you're shooting for? And where, if those land, like just dream big. What's that look like for Palmetto Pine?
I think over the next year, I love the storytelling aspect to the drops. So I want to try and continue to drum up those kind of ideas and figure out where can I like take apparel and stories and the Carolina idea. Continue to figure out what I can make with that. I think that's kind of a fun aspect to it. I kind of have a couple ideas in mind. Probably need to sooner than later figure out what I don't have anything officially like figured out for spring, but I need to start getting the spring figured out. So I definitely want to get to some of that type of stuff for the apparel. And then content. I very much view Palmetto Pine as like part, like it's apparel company, but also part like media company. So I really enjoy making content. So I think there's still so much to explore in terms of that, like, potential, brand, documentary type stuff, like go and like kind of dive and continue to tell the story of Palmetto and Pine, and do it creatively and show people why this means so much to me, kind of thing. So I just think there's so much on the media side that can be done that I still want to explore, and I think that we can do. So those are kind of like, next year, like I would love to continue the series, whether it's Palmetto Golf Loop or we do another kind of variation of that. I still think there's so many.
Some good ideas brewing.
Yeah, I think there's still so
Some
much.
wild ideas brewing. We'll see where they land.
We'll see where those go. But I still think those series, I want to get into the long form. I think doing YouTube content, and not for the purpose of showing my golf game, but to show some of, I don't know.
I don't show mine. It's been in a shaky spot recently. So.
I think some of the long form and getting to show golf courses that way, getting to show some of the personality of the brand. Like I have a lot of fun traveling around and highlighting golf courses. Like I think it can be interesting, and it's just a matter of like how do we film it correctly and how do we follow the game. Like social media at the end of the day is kind of like a game. You have to play the hooks and all of that fun stuff. And retention, and so I think there's a lot to learn, and that can be done there. But I do think that like what we're doing with Palmetto Pine is something that's interesting that people would enjoy to watch. So I think YouTube is definitely another goal of mine, to grow that aspect of it, and also see if can we bring shorter versions to Instagram? Can we do some shorter, like cooler versions and bring that to Instagram? Those are really kind of what my mind goes to at the moment.
That's sweet. So like, if somebody is new to like learning about Palmetto and Pine, or they've been a part of like the Palmetto and Pine community, what what do you want someone to feel? What are the takeaways? Like, what are some of those adjectives or things that you want people to feel or, kind of be like, this is Palmetto Pine?
Yeah. I think I always go back to the word home, because that's how this came about for me, is the sense of finding home.
Yep.
And for a lot of people, like, the Carolinas are their home. Like, they grew up here and they have all these memories of playing this or that golf course. And that's been some of the neatest stuff, is to talk, get messages from people that say, like, oh, you posted about this golf course, like, I grew up playing this, or like, you posted about this and now, like, I'm gonna go visit. Like, I have people that, like, resonate with that idea of home.
Yeah.
And so that's really, like, that's super duper important to me, and it is always neat to see people resonate with that.
Yep.
So I think, when it comes to people, what do you want to think of when you think of Palmetto Pine? Is I want people to have that feeling, the sense of home and a love for the Carolinas, like I do, just because we've got incredible golf courses. There's a ton of history. You've got everything from the beach to the mountains. You've got the sandhills, everything in between. I just think the Carolinas are just two of the greatest states in the country. And I just think, I think they're awesome. And so it's cool to have people resonate with that. And that's what I hope people resonate with.
Yeah.
And I hope I can, show the Carolinas in the best way that they understand and have that same sense.
Yeah, I think it was really cool. Like, on the golf loop, one of the courses we played, it's this local, cash only kind of spot. And then afterwards, like, maybe like a month, a couple weeks, like, or like whenever the video came out for it, you sent me a message and you were like, look at this, like, message from the guy who's running it, his son, and it's like, this is cool. That's what it's all about. And I think it's really cool to see the Carolina golf community and just the different people. And, like, you've done some really cool Pine Talks with people that have been halfway around the world that are playing with one arm, people that are super talented superintendents and, like, just taking impeccable care of the courses. And so I think it's really cool that you're highlighting all the different variations of Carolina golf, but you're also in that, like, Palmetto and Pines elevating the stories of the people that make it happen. I think it's really, really cool. So.
Yeah. There's so many great people and so many interesting people. There's so many different stories to be told. And I always I love talking with, like, the superintendents, because one of the things, like, I really loved learning about, like, the course history and golf course architects.
Yep.
And, like, those are the things that typically get talked about when it comes to golf courses, but people, like, aren't always appreciating, like, the superintendents. Like, the reason, like, these golf courses look as good as they do is because there's superintendents, there's people in their turf teams that are, like, working hard to make them look that way. So I think it's a super underappreciated side of the game. So I think it's fun to talk to those guys. And then also, talk to the head pros, see where a lot of people in the golf industry, especially in the Carolinas, like, they've been to all these different places. Like, golf is, it's kind of one of those things that, people travel around and have been at different spots. So it kind of just leads to cool stories and different experiences that I think are neat to talk about.
So back to tradition here. What are your tips, your tricks? Do we want to hit our tee shot where we're sitting? Do we want to be where I was, like, playing around the corner over this way and having to do all kinds of stuff in the wind? You talked about this place being special because this is kind of where you had that moment. What's your favorite hole out here? What do you like about this course?
Yeah. Okay. Tips and tricks. Your best idea, especially off this first hole, you want to make sure you're along the left, so then you can play a sick, like, hook around the trees.
Yeah. Make it hard on yourself, and then you look like a pro.
Yeah. So play a sick hook onto the tree or around the trees. That's always the best game plan for the first hole. But it's kind of funny. Like, we were talking about during the round of like, I've played this course probably of any golf course that I've played in the Carolinas. I think Tradition is the one I've played the most. Because when I first moved here, I used to live not too far. I lived up the street, and I'd come play with my buddies. And this was at the time, like, I was still, like, getting better at golf, and like, I wasn't quite as, I've slowly more and more dove deeper into golf.
Yeah.
So when I come out here, we'd play scrambles with my buddies.
Yeah.
So playing this, I was like, thought about it. I was like, I've done more scrambles out here, like, far more scrambles. I don't know if today might have been the first time I've ever played my own ball.
You said that. You were throwing out crazy stuff. You're like, yeah, we played, like, par fives, like 7 irons only, like everyone. Like, I was just like, you guys are getting creative. Like, the creativity was there, like, well before it was Palmetto Pine and everything, right? And so that's funny.
Shout out to Jared and John. We did that. We did 7 iron only on whatever 13 or 14 is the par 5 on the back. This is the golf course that I've played more in scrambles, so it's kind of interesting to play it again as my own ball. It's a very narrow golf course for the most part. It's kind of a course that you can keep the driver in the bag. There's You don't need to hit it. You can play something and play up a tee box if you want. Like if you're worried about spraying things around, like try to keep it in the fairway, and you're gonna have a much more enjoyable time.
Yeah. Gets a little narrow.
Yeah, but I think it's a pretty underrated golf course for Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty interesting. Like, it's not flat. I think the greens have a ton of like fun undulations there. They're not easy to read, so it can be frustrating round, but I think it makes for fun.
Yep.
Like it's, the greens, the different holes can play so differently just based on pin placements, and you can get different looks. So I think that's really unique, and that's why I think I've always enjoyed it for that reason. And then favorite hole, probably 17. Like that's the hole that when I played that one day in October, I was on hole 17, standing by the 150 stick, and just kind of like that was the moment of like, I found home. So that one will always like sit and resonate with me. It's also in terms of the golf hole itself, it's a little kind of like a dogleg right par 4. It's a pretty generous fairway. You've got bunkers kind of middle right. And then the 150 stick is your spot. That's where you want to be. And then you have a nice shot to the green, but everything kind of falls off the right. I just think it's a really nice looking hole, and it's kind of cool. It's almost kind of an infinity type of look where everything falls off and you can't quite see what's behind it. So I really like 17, and that one, it'll always have, it's kind of funny to play this golf course, because I think I had those feelings, but then at the end of the day, like, it's just kind of like your general, like a neighborhood golf course. It's nothing too crazy about it. But I do have such like strong, like nostalgic kind of like emotional feelings about it. So it's kind of funny to play it again and see it. But yeah, so I guess if you're in Charlotte and want like, a solid course, I think it's just fine. I think it's a solid course.
I guess kind of wrapping up, since we're running a little bit out of daylight here. How can people support the Carolina golf community? How do you see people like moving forward and like, in this day and age, like, and with how busy life can get sometimes with, so many different golf courses out there, so many different options, there's all kinds of stuff you could do. How do you feel like people can come together and support Carolina golfing community well? I know it's a random question I kind of just threw out there, but like.
Yeah, I mean.
And it could be something where you admire, you love about the Carolina golf already, and it's like just doubling down on that, right?
Yeah, I just think, obviously, I mean, everybody's different. Some people don't have, whether it like for monetary reasons or time reasons, like people have families and like, you have obligations, things you got to do as an adult.
Yeah.
But I think like grab a friend, like sometime, I mean, just go play go explore a new area.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I really enjoyed doing. And I think, definitely would recommend it to people. Like grab a friend and go explore something new. Like there's so much in the Carolinas. There's so much good golf around the Carolinas, whether you're here like in Charlotte or Greensboro, Winston, Raleigh, the Outer Banks. You've got the mountains, you've got into South Carolina, you've got into, Columbia, Aiken, Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach. Like there's so much good golf in the Carolinas. Like grab a friend and go play a new golf course. And if you need help finding a golf course to play, like feel free, always reach out. Like I try to respond to every single thing, and I almost essentially do. Reach out, send us a message if you're ever. It's kind of funny. People almost are like asking me for like itineraries.
You're a travel agent.
Yeah, I'm a travel agent. I'm part travel agent running this brand. So yeah, I think get out and explore. I think the Carolinas have so much to offer. So I think the exploring thing. I think there's some really good groups. I'll shout out Twilight Golf Club is one that have loved to be involved with and have been a part of events and things like that. So shout out to Stephen Edwards, and Twilight Golf Club is a great group, and that's one that comes to mind. Restoration Club, we played with Ryan Grammatico and Danny Christensen today, another great group. So I think there's some good groups out there to find people to play with and explore Carolina golf. So yeah, those are kind of what come to mind.
That's awesome. Sweet. Well, I think that wraps it up. That is another Pine Talk, but this one we swapped seat. Well, no, I'm over there usually, but you swap seats. But that's another Pine Talk episode with Ryan, owner of Palmetto Pine, and thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, and I guess Chase, thank you for having me, dude.
Yeah, thanks for breaking in my first podcast hosting. I've been on one other podcast before this, but I was just answering questions. So
yeah,
how do you feel? Do you like being over there, or do you like being over here?
It's interesting.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of like when you're like leading it, you kind of like, obviously I know where it's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sitting here, I don't know where it's going to
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't know where it's going. No, I knew where it was going to go. I had questions picked up, but cool.
But I guess
Thanks.
just to wrap, I do want to
Yeah.
shout like
Yeah.
like, dude, you've been massive in helping me in
Thanks,
this
dude.
last year. So a big thank you to you. And there's like, I want to shout out Ant Weiss has been another guy he's helped me with filming some stuff. He's helped me with editing. So big shout out to Ant. Alan Knight's another guy that's helped me film. So I just want to shout out people that have helped me in this brand. I just want to make sure that that's appreciated. And I have Tyler Corderi. I got an intern. I don't know if I've talked to you about this. We got a Palmetto Pine
What?
intern.
It's a little chilly out there. Maybe we need a little coffee or something like that coming in.
yeah. Dude. Tyler,
Wherever you are.
Tyler, bring the coffee. But shout out to Tyler. He's someone that's been helping out. It's like the brand, like for the most part, has largely been pushed along because of my time and effort and energy. But there's been other people that have also been super helpful in making the brand into what it is today. So I want to know that, thank you to helping for this first year and hopefully many great years to come for this brand.
Yeah, well, thanks for being open to one of those random DMs you get about not travel agent, but being like, hey, like I like what you're doing and I have a camera. We'll help like that. Pretty much DM. So it's been fun and it's been great. Me as somebody who does a lot of video full time, it's been a great outlet for me and just brought life to me. And then also just getting to know you and becoming a great friend has been a huge blessing too. And I think it's a great example of what Palmetto Pine is, and that like just community, like everything you're talking about just sums up between anybody who knows you and anybody who's around the brand. So it's been awesome. So appreciate it, dude. Good job, homie. You did great.